Arsenal finish off pre-season in style, beating Lyon 2-0 at the Emirates. Back-to-back games at the Emirates with 6 goals scored, the 1 conceded, and a debut for Calafiori. We're going to talk about him. We'll talk about some interesting tactical things that Arsenal did in this game that feel like a slight evolution of what we've been seeing before, but a lot of the same stuff too. And actually, what I really like is he's getting that midfield 3 out there that we want to see. And I actually think that there is something they're adopting that might be right for Mikel Merino when he comes in. But the match report: Arsenal beat Lyon 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium. And we're going to give you some stats and some insight onto the game. Arsenal had 16 shots, as you can see, to Lyon's 8, 56% of the ball, 44% for Lyon, more passes, all that, the stuff you'll have to see. Now, the big thing we want to talk about, of course, the goal scorers, William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, the 2 centre-backs getting on the score sheet. The thing we really want to talk about as well is the 11. Now, what I found really interesting about this 11, Zinchenko keeping his place again. Really feels like even with Calafiori now in the building, he's getting ready for Zinchenko to start the season. As you can see, David Raya in goal, Saliba, Gabriel. Now, the big ones were Rice and Saka started. They did get 45 minutes against Leverkusen midweek, but this was them starting and playing quite a lot of minutes. Havertz back up top, great to see, and Martinelli in the left eight as well. In the left eight, in the left of the front three. Apologies, Rice. I'm getting confused. Havertz, who had played left eight most of pre-season, actually starting up front, and Martial on the left. So I wonder whether that is the 3 there that he wants to see predominantly throughout next season, or the one he considers his best, most dynamic 3 at the moment. Now, the game was really interesting because I felt watching the game that Arsenal's first 15 minutes were very much like the Leverkusen game. Obviously, against Leverkusen, we had 2 goals by then. Arsenal did get the goal in the 9th minute thanks to William Saliba. Set pieces are back, people. We are scoring goals from set pieces again. But I think what's really interesting is that Arsenal had a really good intensity for 30 minutes, and then did the heat play its part? Did Arsenal drop off because they had a comfortable lead? Is that how they'll be in the Premier League? Maybe a little bit more cautious once they go 2-0 up? Because from the 30th minute onwards, Arsenal weren't at their very best, if I'm honest. A little bit pedestrian, but Lyon threw very few questions. I know the stats will tell you that they had 8 shots. I can't really remember them. But let's try and actually look at what went so well in that first 30 minutes, because what you had was Arsenal totally in control. The press is sublime. Arsenal all over Lyon. They couldn't get out. I don't think they saw, their attacking third Lyon for the first 15, 20 minutes, honestly. We had them pinned in. We were playing really good football, winning the ball high up the pitch. Felt Thomas Partey was really in a good rhythm this time. Definitely Leverkusen was a better game at the time, of all the preseason games. This was maybe even another level up. He felt he had control in the midfield, like everything was filtering through him. I also felt watching the game that Declan Rice was really understanding that left 8 role. Much better performance from him than we saw against Leverkusen in that 45. I felt he was very, very comfortable in that left 8, maybe getting up to speed again with what that kind of position requires. It differs a lot from the more static defensive midfield role he has for England. Now, the game had its moments. Of course, William Saliba from a set piece. We had a few set pieces that we didn't do too much with, but then the ball comes into the box. Saliba, Declan Rice, great cross. Saliba peels off. He's nearer to goal, but he peels away and then just sort of glances it into the roof of the net. Brilliant to see. Arsenal go 1-0 up. And then at that point, we're purring. We're playing our football. And what you saw as well was a lot of rotating of positions, a lot of different players involved in build-up. Now, when I talk about these kind of new ideas tactically we saw a few things quite early in the game. Firstly, Saka at the back post. We're used to Saka whipping the ball to the back post, where we hope a Marino might be, where Declan Rice would be, where Granit Xhaka was when he was at his best. It was actually this time Bukayo Saka finding that sort of space at the back post and attacking crosses, and actually doing really well. His headroom was really good. One nearly fell to Kai Havertz. One was claimed by a goalkeeper, but not particularly comfortably. And it was really interesting that actually Arsenal in pre-season have done a lot better funneling their football through the left. Last season was all through the right. This time, a lot more of it coming through Zinchenko and that left-hand side, with Saka actually getting into good goal-scoring opportunities at the back post and turning finisher more so than provider. Of course, he didn't get the goal, but he had a lot of good chances ahead that you're thinking, okay, Bukayo Saka has definitely, and Arteta have definitely worked on something a little bit different here. But with that sort of movement to the back post, yes, Declan Rice was responsible for some really good crossing, Martinelli as well. But it was interesting seeing Zinchenko in that half space, getting the ball and whipping it to that back post as well for Saka to attack. I've long said that we don't have those players that get, when we say half space, if this is the whole pitch and you got your, the right winger, the left winger, of course, it's the other way around for you. But the half space, you've got so right, left, central, and then it's that space in between, not quite out on the left or the right, not quite central. It's that sort of space in between, getting that ball before you sort of enter the penalty area and digging out crosses to the back post. They're very awkward to defend. Off right, left foot, either side, whether it's sort of an in-swinger or an outswinger, they're awkward. Zinchenko with his sort of outswingers were causing problems, and Saka was getting to really good areas. Now, that wasn't the only interesting thing out on the left-hand side we saw. We saw a lot of long balls. I didn't feel they worked as much. They were trying to go from back to front quite quickly often. Again, didn't always work, but what was working is the underlap. Now, the underlap wasn't just one player. It wasn't just Declan Rice hitting that channel, running in on goal. It wasn't just maybe Zinchenko from an inverted position. It was interesting how often Declan Rice moved to the touchline, and either Zinchenko was finding balls to Martinelli, but mainly actually Declan Rice was finding Martinelli with that underlap, and he was getting into some really good positions. So when you look at this Marino deal, that feels like it's imminent. It makes you think he is made for that position, A, on his left foot to hug the touchline at times, B, to receive the ball and make runs off Zinchenko passes, but also to underlap for a Martinelli at times as well. I feel like he could be made for that, and there's a reason Arsenal are trialing this in pre-season. Also, why maybe Havertz played up front, because if Marino is coming, how much use is it playing Havertz in that role when he's maybe not going to play there if Marino's fit? Those things are interesting. So the first 30 was really good. As you can see, we're 6 minutes in, and I've spoken a lot about the first 30 minutes. Havertz, what a ball when he takes that touch on, defending the penalty area. A couple loose headers, we couldn't quite get rid of it, but Havertz just on the turn, just drills it through to Martinelli. The vision and the execution is incredible. Martinelli had a hit and miss game. He wasn't so into it. Havertz wasn't massively into it either, but there were some really good moments from him. Martinelli definitely looked dangerous in terms of pace. Odegaard found a really good through ball to Martinelli as well, but he couldn't quite do much with it. And there was a moment in the second half where Martinelli made a great run from I think basically off the touchline inside. Odegaard finds the reverse ball through. Suddenly Martinelli is driving centrally, and Havertz has peeled the other way and is basically like, lay it off to my left foot and I can finish this. Now, I don't think Havertz does particularly well with the effort. I don't think he takes a touch. I think he takes it first time, or maybe if he does, it's not a great first touch. Can't quite remember. But I don't think Martinelli's ball into Havertz is great in that moment either. I think he sort of rolls it a little kind of too far from goal. So Havertz sort of ends up sort of scuffing a shot wide. So Havertz isn't blameless in that moment, but I don't think Martinelli was brilliant with the ball there. So really hit and miss game for Martinelli. From the 30th minute though onwards, then another goal from Gabriel, again, whipped to the back post. Great that we're getting goals from set pieces again. This was a big part of what we did against teams last season, defending them really well, attacking them really well. And we did the same in this game. So, yeah, you'd like a goal from open play, but Arsenal haven't struggled for creativity in open play in pre-season, nor goals when you look at Leverkusen the other day. So I'm not particularly worried about the lack of an open play goal. I think it's actually really good that we're adding goals from set pieces in pre-season and showing that's still very much a part of what we do very well. Nicholas Yo will be very pleased. I felt that the tempo did drop. And like I said, how much of this is the fact that Arsenal are treating it like a Premier League game? Do you go all out for a third when you're 2-0 up, in the heat in the Premier League? It might well be the same next weekend. You probably don't. You probably are quite sensible, and Arsenal always had control of that game. So maybe they're just more replicating what they do in a real scenario. They were meant to play penalties, but apparently Lyon didn't want to. So there we go. Penalty shootout never happened. Not much else to say about the second half. Saka, I think, struggled. In fact, let's sort of go through the team as well. We can sort of touch on the subs as well. Generally, just very quickly, Raya, very good, made a good save when they were through on goal in the second half. Thought David Raya did brilliantly there. Ben White, I thought he's probably his best game of pre-season. Saliba, Gabriel, great. Zinchenko doing some lovely things. Odegaard, Partey, Rice, very happy with the combinations. Odegaard is just purring. And the fact that he just keeps playing full 90s tells you where his fitness is. And of course, he did come back earlier, but still. And then Saka, not his best. I thought he was very good against Leverkusen, struggled a bit in this game, but did some very nice things and had some hard work. I thought the left back did really well against him. Who was it? Abner. Yeah, I thought he did really well against him with Kai Havertz and Martinelli having their moments. Havertz slightly better, I think. We just go through the subs very, very quickly. Jesus struggled to get in the game, showed some nice touches, nice moments. Was trying to get in behind more, which is interesting. Kivior can't really say too much. Trossard can't say too much. Same with Jorginho and Nelson. Lewis Kelly, Nwaneri definitely showed some nice touches, but we need to talk about this guy, Ricardo Calafiori, who came on, played left back for maybe about 10, 15 minutes before he moved to centre back. And I think he looks really comfortable in both positions, I've got to say. And I know it's difficult doing commentary, but the commentators were winding me up a little bit if you were watching the Arsenal.com coverage, because I felt that, I don't know, I felt like the criticisms of Calafiori, or the shortcomings of Calafiori's game were highlighted a little bit unfairly. At left back, he definitely wanted to maraud forward and invert and sort of, really get involved in the game. A centre back, he just looked so commanding and calm. Now, Lyon didn't throw very much at Calafiori, but I really liked what he did do. It was very neat. It was very comfortable. And actually, I think it was a little bit of a reminder that, yes, he's tall. Yes, he's to the international. He's still 22 years old. So there's a lot of developing, a lot of maturing to do. And today was just a bit of his debut was just quite fueled with energy, wasn't it? It was actually sort of great to watch him out there. And I think it'll definitely add something. Really interested to see what Arteta's going to do with Calafiori next season. Will he get centre back minutes and add something there? Or is he going to really basically play left back and try do what Zinchenko does best while offering a little bit more defensive solidity? So let's wait and see. Arsenal round off pre-season. Ultimately, I'm really happy with how pre-season's gone. We've got 3 wins in there, a draw against Bournemouth that was ultimately won on penalties, a defeat against Liverpool had plenty of positives, but we've ended this week what was 2 pretty big games, big in terms of friendlies, in terms of the opposition, at home, with 2 wins and comfortable wins. And Arsenal didn't really get bothered by either side. These are sort of established European clubs. One in Leverkusen have done big things in the last year, and Arsenal, really cruised it. I don't think we were as good as we were in the Leverkusen game. I must say that. I did feel there was a level drop. So let's hope that's more by design than it was I don't know, something that Arteta might have a real issue with going to next week where we kick things off against Wolves. Let me know in the comment section below. Shall I do a video on the underlaps and Mikel Merino and how that might fit? If you want that video, I could do that on Monday. So let me know in the comment section below. Hope you've enjoyed this match report, everyone. Arsenal win 2-0 against Lyon, round off pre-season with a nice, comfortable win. And next week, it's the real deal. See you soon.